or someone who is having the I would say basic knowledge about the system and wants to test that software as an end user. So that go with the route of the manual testing, and that is how the manual testers start. And that is why it is very easy, quite easy, not very easy, it's quite easy to start as a manual tester, because there is a lot of responsibility of defect management, defect reporting on the manual tester guy. So that is something we will be discussing in coming session itself. Next is that is more towards the automation testing. Automation testers are the guys, or the automation testing is something which is done with the help of tools. So practically, if we talk about tools, so Selenium is the tool we will be working, and we will be testing exactly the same projects, same stuff we test in the I would say the manual testing. So for example, today we'll start testing the Gmail. Fine. So Gmail login logout functionality we'll be testing. So this will be one as a, I would say, example, one as a sample we'll be testing. And the same we'll be testing with the Selenium ID, we'll be testing with the Selenium WebDriver. If required, we'll be testing with the QTP. So that is what we're going to do, and that is what we're going to test. So automation testing and Selenium testing, basic difference is about the approach. Fine. So automation testers are the guys who are having the knowledge of the base, understanding the code, not completely, but good understanding about the code. Like, this is how it is created, this is how this particular line is going to work. So let me write the code as well, and then after writing some basic scripts, this the testing will be performed. That initially I was doing as a manual tester. So most important thing, guys, all you all have to focus is, you more focus on the manual testing part, so that it build your base, it build your ground, like the concept, like you have the better clarity how we are testing, why we are testing, and what are the approaches we are using for the testing. Okay. So this was about the manual and automation testing. In the previous session we discussed, it was a quick review about that. We also discussed the 2 to 3 important terminologies, that was like the black box testing, white box testing, and gray box testing. So black box testing is kind of, you can consider that is a terminology that relates with the manual testing. A box which is I would say black, and we are just trying to match it with the help of I would say input and output. So once we have given some inputs, how it going to respond. So this is like the black box testing. So this is a system, I'm giving some input and it is coming as an output. So what does it come getting back in terms of the I would say output. That is how I'm going to decide. Another was the white box testing. So that is more towards, box is completely transparent. Box means the system understanding. So this box is representing here. Black means we do not have the internal understanding, just like manual tester. And the second testing, which is white box testing, or we can also call it as a glass box testing. So that is more towards, we are having internal details, understanding of the codes, etc., that we do as a glass box testing. In industry, we use a combo, because both the testing methodologies have advantages and disadvantages of both. So we use a combo that is called as gray box testing. So this is gray box testing, a combination of complete manual input output based end user ways, and some understanding of the code, so that it gives I would say a better package for a tester or for a team to come up with. That is the reason yesterday, I mean in the previous session as well, we had a question, and when that the question was, when the automation testers are there, why we require manual testers. So automation and manual, or we can say black box and white box, both as a combo give the optimum result in terms of cost, in terms of time, in terms of user experience and all. And that is why we use a combo. You go you take the example of any company. You go to Google, you go to Microsoft, you go to any mid-size or the startup companies, you will find like the guys who are performing testing, they are actually having the manual as well as automation guys. Even manual testers are more, automation testers are less in numbers, because these are little bit skill wise finding the guys is hard. And that is why the combo of both manual and automation testers work together in the team of testing, and that is how they carry out the results for the complete system. Now, this was the quick review of the previous session. I hope it gave you, I would say, better understanding, like what we understood. It's for you also, Naveen. And now we are discussing more towards the, I would say, areas, and these are they called as levels. What are the software testing levels? But more, these are like very practical way, because this includes all the important terminologies what you have to focus, like what is unit testing, what is integration testing, what is alpha testing, what is beta testing, what is system testing, what is user acceptance testing, and so on. So this is more, we are entering more into the IT based terminology domain and IT based stuff, because somebody is going to, and your supervisor is going to ask you in the team where you recruited somewhere in the company, and they'll ask you, hey, do this integration testing for these three modules. So if you do not have understanding what does integration testing means, or what does system testing means, or what does unit testing means, so you will be in trouble. So let us understand quickly, and then we find out like how we are dividing the different levels, and how the industry is trying to divide the levels and trying to get the work done. Fine. So from the work level, fine, from the work perspective, or from the perspective of software or a web solution, um, all the softwares are divided into two, I would say, aspect. One is called as the functional aspect, and second is called as the non-functional aspect. So when I call a functional aspect, what does it mean? Functional means all the functionalities which a system is having. Fine. So functionality means, for an example, we are having a kind of, let's say any project. I was taking an example of, let's say, travel project, a traveling project we are having. So in that we are having functionalities like, login is one functionality, registration is one function, second functionality, searching a flight is third functionality, booking a flight is fourth functionality, going with the payment is fifth functionality, and this is like checking our own flight status, this is sixth functionality. So if you see, like in the function testing part, what we are trying to test in functional testing, we are trying to test the functionality or the features or the facilities, in more lame words, like the facilities or the features that system is providing. So those are called as functionalities. So in the functionality, I would say in the functional aspect, functional testing, we are only testing the functionality. We are only assuring the quality of the functionality that particular software or the web solution is providing. Okay, so it means, what does it means? So these are the 5 steps which are involved in testing the functionality. One is like to determine of the functionality that the intended application is meant to perform. So it is more like, you remember what it meant to perform, it is performing or not. Second is like the creation of test data based on the specifications of the application. Test data means, for example, we are going to test Gmail. So on the Gmail, what parameters, what credentials we'll be using to test the Gmail. So for example, we'll be using, let's say I'm using my email ID as rahul@infotechsolutions.com, or I'm using any other email ID, or you're using your email ID. I remember like and the Gazelle's email ID is gazelle88385 something at the gmail.com. So that is something the email ID she'll be using as the test data. So data which is going to use for the testing, that is called as test data. Third is like the output based on the test data and the specifications of the application. Output based on the data and the specifications of the application. So this is called as more towards the expected data, because if we are entering a valid user ID and valid password, we are looking like the system will be login with more, I would say, accuracy, and we'll be able to reach to the home page. So that is something we're going to check. The specification it is written, like when we're going to use the correct data, it will be giving us the correct result. Then it's like the writing of test scenario and execution of test cases. So writing the test scenario means writing the test case directly, and then executing the test case and see if it is working or not. And last is comparison of actual and expected result based on the executed test case. So this is actually practically a complete life cycle, and this is what we also gonna follow in the Gmail today. And that is like this, you see, first of all, we are determining we're trying to test the functionality, determining what the functionality is intended to perform, it should perform first. Then we're going to select some test data. For example, I selected Rahul at infotechsolutions.com, and password I have selected. And then based on the valid user ID and valid password, how system should respond, what output it should give. So it is called as my expected output. I have expected that with the valid user ID and valid password, I am going to I'm going to reach to the home page. Now whatever terminologies I am using, these terminologies are very important, because this is, you will be you have to work on the years you will be working in the software testing areas. These important terminologies there will be with you, like expected result, test data, actual result, and then the test cases. So learn this one important terminology, that is called as test data. So test data means whatever data we are using, which we going to use for the testing of that unit or that functionality. Another is like called as expected result. Expected result means based on this test data and as per the functionality which is written in the specification, I think this should be the expected result. So in the case of Gmail, when I'm using valid user ID and valid password, expected data is that I'll be able to log in to the system and I'll be able to see the home page. Next is called as creating the test case. So I am writing the test script or test case, one of the same thing. And then you are executing the test case. Executing the test case means you're actually performing the same steps what you have written, and then you'll be getting a result. After performing the test case, you will be getting a result, and that result will be called as actual result. Fine. So we are having test data which we are using to test the functionality. We have decided one expected result based on the test data and specification. Third, we are creating our own test case. And fourth, when you are actually running the test case, executing the test case, you are getting one actual result. So if expected result is equal to actual result, or I can say if actual result exactly is same as the expected, what we were expecting, actual result is also coming the same, then we consider like the functionality is working perfectly fine, or the functionality with this test data is perfect, so that we give it as a status. That a status is called as pass, or if it doesn't match, we give it as a status as a fail. So this is status is actually a kind of status is of the test case. So if the actual result matches with the expected result, test case is pass. If it doesn't match, it's a fail. Fine. This, please try to remember these important terminologies: test data, expected result, test cases, actual result, pass, fail. This we are going to use after say I would say after these concepts while testing the Gmail. So these important terminologies, please try to remember it, and that is what will help us in writing the test cases in the form of the manual test cases. So now we understood the functionality testing, the basics, like whenever we are trying to test the functionalities. So this is how we're going to divide. So this is how we're going to work the functionality testing. Second is called as, there are there are various kind of testing in this. One is called as the unit testing. Do you guys want okay, wait a second, let me connect the surface so that I can write down and you can see at the same time. Okay, so I hope it's visible. Excuse me. Okay, so first terminology we are having, that is, I was saying like unit testing. Fine. So so testing we are dividing into two. One is like functional. Second is like non-functional. And in the functional area, what I was trying to do, I was trying to assure the functionality. I was trying to test the functionality, and this is divided into various different kind of testing. One is called as, which is the initial one, that is called as. So first one, which is the most basic one, that is called as unit testing. So when I talk about the unit testing, what does unit testing means? So I was giving you an example of, let's say, this flight reservation on the traveling project. So in booking a flight, I'm having various four different, I would say 5 to 6 different modules, different functionality. And these functionalities are like login functionality. Then I was having like the searching the flight functionality, booking a flight functionality, then going with the payment functionality, and checking the old booked flight status. So these are the various functionalities I'm having. So if you see, these all functionalities which I'm having, let's say I'm listing here. So these all functionalities, which are like, we can also call them as the features. If I pick a single module, if I pick a single functionality, so that is more called as a unit to that particular system. Fine. So if I pick like this one I picked, so this booking a flight will be one unit that I have to test. If I take an example of the Gmail, if I take an example of an e-commerce project, if I take an example of, let's say, any educational e-learning project, the only part what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pick one unit, and I'm trying to test that one unit at the same. Fine. So testing one single unit through of a complete project, that is called as unit testing. Fine. So we are trying to test a single unit, and that is the most basic part, or the most, I would say, if we divide the complete project into different I would say segment. So complete system, complete project can be divided into various segments, and first segment, first I would say most basic unit can be called as a unit, the most basic feature. So that is what we call it as a unit testing. So most essential is like then that is what, if you remember, I was discussing like how to become a good software tester, and then we were discussing about good analytical skills, and by which we can divide the complex problem into a smaller solution, and we can test that smaller solution into separately, and then we can come up with the more I would say quality assured solution for that particular website or the software development software solution. So that is called as one unit is called as like the booking a flight. We have another as a login, one other mod unit, then another mod unit, then another unit, then another unit. So this is called as the I would say concept when we talk about the unit testing. So unit testing is performed by the developers before the steps handed over and the testing team, and testing guys are also performing irrespective of the units they have given to us. And that is what the goal of unit testing is, to examine each part of program and ensure that individual part are correct in terms of requirement and functionality. Then we go with a second terminology that is called as integration testing. Integration testing means when we are combining any two different parts or more different parts, I would say, into one module, one unit, then it is like we are integrating the machine. So it's like so now what I'm going to do is I have used this registration, which is like ultimately registration module, and then I'm going with another module that is like I'm trying to search the flight or I'm trying to book the flight. So let's say I pick this one. So now I have two functionalities altogether. One is like booking a flight, and second is like registration. So now these are two different units, and when I try to integrate it, so that is what we're going to test it as an integrated solution. So these are like two different units or two different part of code or two different basic functionalities what I included and I created as an integration as a one solution, and then I'm trying to test. So when I do integration test, what does it mean? For an example, in the I would say individual solution, booking the flight is this registration module individually, it is working perfect in the unit testing, as well as the booking a flight, it was working exactly the way it should work as per the specification document. But when I'm trying to test both as a combo solution, as in one solution, then how the booking flight and how the registration modules are going to perform and going to respond, that is what I more try to I would say help, I more try to judge, I more try to test in the form of integration testing. Does it make sense to you guys? So integration testing is defined as the, I would say, testing of combined parts of an application to determine if they function correctly. And integration testing can be done in some ways, and these are the various ways. Like one is bottom up integration, one is top down integration, thread based integration, user based integration, cluster integration based on testing. So you can read it out, and if you have any questions, let me know. Now I'm moving to the next concept, which is the more important concept, and that is called as system testing. So system testing means that testing the complete system as a whole. So it means when all the modules, like the, if you go here, like all the modules, like the login module, the flight reservation booking of the flight module, registration module, payment module, and flight tracking module, all are done. And then we have integrated all the solutions in one, and then we are trying to test complete as a system. Then it is called as system testing. So system testing is again performed by the specialized, we can say, team of testing. Now specialized, not I would say any different kind of testers, just you guys are going to test it, but you're going to test the complete system as a whole. So that is the reason we perform the system testing. Like we want the system, we want to test the machine complete as a whole, how it is going to respond. We want to check like and the production environment, how it is going to respond. So we try to test with the same specifications what we have given to the client end. If you remember, you see somewhere like this, please use this software on this platform, this much RAM, this much space and all. So that is the environment where we are giving to the client end, and that is the same way we expect, and we try to test that software, test that complete system, and try to verify as well as validate like both the business requirement and application architecture that is exactly working, exactly matching the way we have already given in the form of technical as well as the specification wise into the technical area as well as the functional area. So this is called as third type of testing, which is like system testing. If we go, fine. So if you see these important terminologies over here, one was like unit testing. So we are testing each unit individually. Then we are combining some, I would say, modules and combining more one or more parts in together. That is called as integration testing. And third one, we are more looking like testing the complete system. So it's like not only one module or couple of module testing of complete. So a system as a whole, that is what we are trying to test in this. So that is called as system testing. Now, one more important terminology that is called as regression testing. So what does regression testing means? So see, whenever there is a change, what we have made in the software application, so it may happen that we have make one change in one application, and that change is reflecting due to that change is reflecting into the second unit. Fine. So it may happen like there is some bug which we found out in one module, and when we corrected that bug, it may happen like that bug is fixed, but due to the fixing, the next bug arised, the different kind of bug arise. Now try to understand with an example. I'm doing an integration testing, fine, and with the help of this integration testing, the searching, the flight searching, as well as booking the flight, these two modules I am trying to integrate. So when I'm trying to search the flight and when I'm trying to book the flight, so as a whole, searching is perfectly fine. When I'm trying to book it, I'm not able to let's say in the field, I'm not able to enter the I would say dates. So that date field is not working in the system and the solution, and it happens many a times. We are using some applications, we are using some websites, and some date functionality is not working. Or I'm trying to write down some let's say contact number, and it's not taking the contact number and all. That is what we are facing an issue. So what we done, we reported that issue to the I would say the developers team. Developers guys, they fixed the issue in the booking a flight, that particular module or the unit, that booking a flight module. But now when we try to test it again, the booking a flight is now fixed, but due to it, like a different field, let's say searching a flight, or the field in the same unit, that is like the contact number, now I'm not able to enter exactly, or it's not accepting contact number, even though I have given a 10-digit of contact number. So it's like just trying to assure, like once one change is made in the system, let it be in one unit, or let it be in the integration, or the more than one unit, then due to fixing the previous bug or existing bug, we have not come up with any new kind of bug or new kind of failure in the system. So that is called as regression test. So regression test is done. Why? Because we want to minimize the gaps in the testing when the application is going through with some change. Fine. So when some changes are made in the system, we are also trying to assure all the possible, I would say, the functionality is one more time, like due to the change, because it happens, we are changing some stuff, and that stuff one is fixed, but the second started arising the issue, and therefore regression test is very, very important, and that needs to be performed. because it happens. I was giving you an example of the I would say one of the popular bank here at America, USA one, and that given outsourced the work to a different company, and that happened like regression test was a failure. I was giving an example. I didn't use the regression terminology that time because okay, this particular test case of login, this always works, so let us leave it. And next we fix the issues, and rather testing the existing module which was always getting passed in terms of testing, we left that part of testing. And then 1 second, and that resulted into the form of like a big failure to the complete system. Give me a moment, guys. Okay, so that is why the regression test is very important, and that is done. And that also actually testing new changes just to verify the changes which has made did not affect any other area of application. That is why the regression testing is performed. Fine. And that is how the I would say test coverage is increased without compromising any kind of timelines, and that is what we do. So we done with the part of one is that is regression testing. So let me like and the next phase which we are working, that is discussing, that is called as the acceptance testing. So acceptance testing is a new, not new, but it's a kind of different, but a very, very important kind of phase of testing, where what we're going to do is actually, this is the way where we are trying to actually match the system with the requirement or the specification of the client, what we have already written at the time of software requirement specification. So this is more, you can relate it like this is more towards the validation part. So if you see in the initial phases what we are doing, this is a functionality test I'm doing, like this functionality, this unit supposed to work this particular I would say the functions, so that I'm trying in a unit testing. Then I'm trying to test with the help of the integration testing, combining some modules. Then I'm combining all modules and doing unit system testing. And if I have made some changes anywhere in the unit or integration or system, then I'm trying to test a regression test, so that it just making sure it the new fix has doesn't affect any of the old fixes. So that is what I'm trying to test or actually verify the functionality what design guys already done, and their functionality is supposed to work. Now I'm going to go with another testing that is more towards the acceptance testing. So acceptance testing is I'm trying to match the functionality is working fine, system is actually tested, integration is tested, unit is tested. Now I'm trying to match it with the requirement and specification what we already actually committed to the client in the form of an SRS document, that is like the legal and contractual requirement for acceptance of the system. Like this is these are the requirements we'll be accepting, or the client will be accepting based on these specifications. So QA team will actually set up pre-written scenarios and test cases that will use to test the application. So this is the case we consider, like how much we going to go with the testing. Like it may happen like one module we keep testing, we testing number of days and hours and days, and we are testing. When we going to decide like this is the system is in the, I would say, position that it can be accepted by the client end. So that is more towards we are trying to validate. And once the QA leads or the guys who decide like this is ready to go with the client end, why? Because this is matching almost all the expectations of the client what we already committed in the document of software requirement as specification as RS document. So then they perform this acceptance testing, and acceptance testing as a result come up as a solution. We decide we're going to go give it handed over to the client end or not. So that is called as acceptance testing. Fine. So testing it with the SRS more towards the client, as I would say, as the specification and what we have committed. So that is more as a validation part, if we remember. Next is called as the alpha testing. So this is a kind of interesting testing, and this is like it's a first stage of testing, which will be performed more towards the team of developers as well as the QA guys. So this is more done in the form of unit integration system. When combined together is known as the alpha testing. It means in the alpha testing, what we are trying to do, unit testing we are performing great, integration we have done, combine the solution, system testing we also done. But when we perform this all testing one by one as a whole, so that is known as the alpha testing of this particular software module. So in this alpha testing, we also try to find out various important, I would say, the bugs or the errors or the areas which is very common, which is one is like the spelling mistakes. Fine. Second is like broken links. You go to various websites, you find the various links are not working. So the links are broken. You click on one hyperlink and that is going like the page is not available. So that is try to find out that the system, when the functionality wise it is tested as a whole, alpha unit integration, unit integration and system. Then you also trying to test any kind of navigation issues like the cloudy directions. So navigation issues are if it's are there, so that needs to be resolved, that we are trying to do as alpha testing. Another is like the application will be tested on machines with the lowest specification to test the loading time as well as the latency problems. So for an example, the specification what we have committed, like this is the recommended specification we are using. Other than the recommended, we are also trying to test more towards the more, I would say, as low as we can go with the specification, with very low RAM, with very low software coverage and internet and all these things. And then we are trying to see what how much the loading time it is taking as a system to load the machine, let it be the RAM size or the internet size and internet speed and all. So that is more towards called as alpha testing. Excuse me. So alpha testing, if I call again, so as a combo, if I'm performing unit integration system as a whole, and also I'm trying to find out these different kind of issues what we are not we can consider as a functionality wise working, but different kind of like spelling mistakes, broken links, the different kind of directions or the navigation issues in the solution that we try to test and resolve in the phase of alpha testing. So next one. So as I would say, a unit integration system as a whole, also additionally spelling mistakes, hyperlinks, and the directions and the navigation and all. Now we come to this last part of the excuse me, this functional testing, and that is called as the beta testing. So beta testing is like if we have performed the, I would say, alpha test successfully. Alpha test means all the unit integration system, spelling mistakes, broken links, navigation, all these issues are done. So then we go with the, I would say, part of the beta testing. And beta testing, what we do is, as I was discussing, like we, it's a kind of not actually the release, not actually the deployment, but we select, I would say, some group of the audience, and that is like from the real world itself, and that is why it is called as a real world testing. And then what we are trying to do is we give that software as a beta version. You have heard lots of I would say, if you see that this is a beta version Google has launched, this is the beta version of this Android, or you go with the tools like Eclipse and all. So what we are working, so they launch a beta version. So that's kind of not a completely stable version. Company has not confirmed like this is a stable version you can go with, but yes, they are already done with the basic all the functionalities testing, but they are now want to use it other than the I would say the development testing team. They want the feedback from the end users, they want the I would say input from the end users. That's why they distribute with a, I would say, wide range of the variety or the audience on the sample audience which they have selected, what the end users is going to use it. So that is what, in this phase, audience will be testing more as a user base, like feedback and then the typographical errors, if they are giving some feedbacks in terms of like whatever feedbacks they are giving, the project team is trying to fix the issues they are facing, uh, any kind of user experience issues they are facing. So that is what the internal team, the testing team, is getting feedbacks. And they also encourage, like, this is a beta version we are launching, please use this, and if you have any issues, please report, this is a forum, or please let us know. So this is what the real users, or the I would say more towards the end users who are going to use it after the deployment, we are asking them initially to use it and give us the feedbacks and results. And that is why the beta version or the beta testing is very, very important and used for getting the real world test exposure. So a real world test with wide, I would say, with large base of the end users, and we get feedbacks, and that is how we improve the solution on the real user itself. And when we are confirmed, like, we are not getting any specific, I would say, the suggestions or system is working perfectly fine, we are getting appreciations on the so for the system or for this the beta version we are using. Then we go and we confirm, like, this is the functional testing part, we are almost done, we are ready for the functional testing, and then we can go with the phase of deployment the product. And that is how the complete, I would say, cycle, if you see, is starting from the unit testing, then integration testing, then system testing as a complete solution, regression testing due to any change in the system, then we're trying to test and assure that there is no extra bug which has arisen in the system. Then assurance, so this acceptance testing, matching with SRS more towards the validation part. Then alpha testing, combining as a whole solution, and as well as the spelling mistakes, the navigation problems, the hyperlinks or broken links problem. And then we go with the beta testing, that is more towards the real world testing, where we have decided, selected some group of people who are from the end users itself. They are testing it and providing us the feedback. Does it make sense to you guys, everyone? Like, the understanding towards the real picture, the various phases we are doing in the IT for the different kind of testings. Gazel, Naveen, you guys there? Okay, is it getting good with you, Naveen? Any issues, any questions, any confusion in this? Okay, that's great. So when I was talking about, let it be you enter the manual and enter the industry as a manual tester, or enter the industry as a, I would say, as an automation tester. You're using Selenium, you're using QTP, you're using the manual testing. Everywhere you're trying to test the functionality of the system. So if you see, if you're working in any kind of project in the testing area and in your team, and maybe you are testing, like, let's say you're working here, you're testing one module, or you would be testing, I would say, the integrated different kind of two modules, or you're testing, as if you get some more experience, you're testing completely as a system, or you are trying to do a regression test on the I would say, regression test means you fixed one bug, you report it to the development team, guys fixed it, they get back to you, then you're trying to retest it. So retest means you are trying to regression test it, you are trying to see if this one fixed bug has not affected some other functionalities, and that is regression you are performing. or you'll be performing more as alpha testing. You're trying to your verbal and English, I would say this communication part is good, written part is good, and your supervisor or your QA lead has assigned you like this is a web solution or this is a software solution. Please go and find and check out all these I would say navigation issues you're having, the system is having, or the spelling mistakes the system is having. So more towards like when I'm talking like the different skills you require, that should be for the communication written skill, or the skills which are more the analytical, more towards like you're trying to test the system as an end users, as a tester, as a person who is more responsible for functionality assurance. So this is all. If you see, you're working in the IT, you're working in the QA team, and more you are trying to test the functionality of the any kind of the software or the machine you're using. So that is what the functionality testing works. Now I'm going to the second aspect. So this is what I was, if you remember, this was a functionality test. So testing, and this is more towards all the functionality. And now there is another area, and that is like major part we are here having with the, I would say in the case of the functional areas. And if you see anywhere in the Google internet, you will find like the functional testing, the Gmail testing, e-commerce testing, and all. That is whole functional area. There is one more area that is a little bit, I would say different, but that is also important. That is called as non-functional area. So non-functional is another area in which non-functional means this section we are more trying to assure the, I would say not the functionality, but more the stuff which are non-functional attributes. Non-functional means like the performance of the system, the user interface of the system, not user interface much, but as a performance, as the security, as a server, how this processing, how the data is being shared and data is working. So that is more called as the non-functional testing. And that is also having two different kind of testing. One is called as performance testing. Performance testing is you're trying to find out the issues, you're trying to find out the bugs which are like the functional non-functional areas in terms of performance. And that is like, you see the network delay in the system, or we can say the database transaction is not processing, or the load is not balanced between the different servers. For example, Google is using almost, let's say, um, we can say 3 million servers throughout the world, and we are trying to see like this in New York area or this area, how many servers Google is trying to serve based on the request, how many requests you're having. So that is more towards the performance testing. So performance testing, what you're trying to consider, you are basically trying to consider the I would say speed, the stability of the solution, the response time, how quickly your website is responding. You open, let's say initially I remember when we used to open the Yahoo, that used to take a little bit time. Then the Gmail was heavy. Then they created more, I would say, smaller application. If you see nowadays, like the cloud-based concept or the app-based concept, the response time has, I would say, decreased a lot. So quickly you are getting the response of any kind of web applications or the apps you are using. So that is what trying to more improve the speed, capacity, how many user it can support and all. So that is what we're trying to test in this performance testing. One more is called as load testing. Load testing means how many users, input users this system can serve. So you're trying to test the load. So applying maximum load in the item in terms of the software accessing, manipulating large input data. So it's like number of users are using, how many active users are using, and how many active users your system is able to serve or your servers are able to serve. So this is another case of load testing, how many guys can how many load it can bear. So that is called as load testing. And one more that is called as the stress testing. The stress testing including the testing of the behavior of the software under abnormal conditions. So load test means we know, like for example, we know that our website can serve almost at the same time 20,000 plus users it can serve at the same time, all these the Q online training portal. And this is what we have done with the Amazon. Like this is the user base it can access quickly, and the server is going to respond to everyone. Stress testing is like, we know like 20,000 is the limit, but we are trying to test with let's say 30,000 with the user base. Fine. So testing with the behavior as the abnormal condition, like what would happen when we going to, if you remember when the time of elections is going on, or so you're tracking some websites and the records and the news websites and these, so that is like a stress test they do. Our system is able to serve 20k users and actively 20k active users, and then we are trying to test with the system as abnormal conditions like 30,000, 50,000 as a user, and then we see how a system responds, and then we're trying to see what is happening. So this is more towards the stress testing. So this is another area we are working. One more also called as usability testing, interface wise UI testing. This is now more towards coming into the part nowadays in the functional part, like the functional guys also have to perform the UI user interface testing, how user friendly your system is, how usable it is, how colored, how the theme, the background, and these things are visible. I didn't get a question, Ghazal. Okay, so this is another like security testing. It's more towards authorization is working, authenticity is not an issue, integrity. Yes, that's true. That's true. Life is stressful, but it's good. We are learning new skills. We are getting better day by day. You're improving. That's great. So right now the stress testing you are performing good. So let it be the way. Let you be more strong with the stress testing. So confidentiality, integrity, so these are more the solution from the server end and all these stuff. So load testing, load energy meter are some areas where the industry is working. So this was, I explained all towards the functional and non-functional aspects of each website. And I hope this would have given you a complete understanding towards when we are talking about test the Gmail functionality, test the login functionality, test the booking, I would say the module, or test the e-commerce, how you are, what you are trying to test. So ultimately you are trying the different units, then you will be combining the different units, you'll be testing as an integration. Once integration is done, you will be testing all as a solution, as a complete solution, that you are testing more towards as system testing. If you have made some changes in the unit, you have asked your development team, they have made some changes, then you're trying to retest it more towards the regression testing. Once you're done, you are testing it as an alpha testing. Then you're also trying to test when the alpha testing is done, then you're going for the this before alpha you're going to go for the acceptance, that is more for towards the validation part. And then you are trying to go with the end users, the selected end users, then you're going with the beta testing part. Does it make sense to you guys? Is it clear? Okay, that sounds great. This is a link, please. I would request you to go through, and I'll share with this the OneNote I'm writing. This PDF I'll be sharing in the form of PDF. Video I'll be sharing. It is recording right now, so that's great. That I'll be sharing. Yes, one more thing. Let us go quickly, and there are some more terminologies like this sanity, smoke, acceptance, automation, manual. I want you guys to go through these documents I have shared in the, I would say in the document itself and in the email itself. Naveen, I'll be sharing. I'll ask support team. They'll be sharing the assignment to you as well. Quickly, I'm going to go with this another concept because we have to perform the Gmail test case today, initial starting. And okay, so there are two important approaches, and I would say the ways we perform testing. One is called as positive testing, and second is called as negative testing. I'm going to give you the concept. You guys going to go and read out completely after the class, or tomorrow maybe morning noon. So one is called as positive testing. So positive testing means whatever the stuff or whatever the functionality is given to us, what we are trying to do is, as a tester, we are trying to test as per the I would say a specification of that particular functionality. Fine. So for an example, if there is an contact now there, if there is a field, and that field is called as we can say the age factor. Fine. So age is going to accept the positive, I would say age is going to accept the numbers. So we are trying to provide only the numbers, because developers has created, because everybody is going to fill in the age form. Is like the nobody is going to write my age is Rahul. Fine, I'm not going to write my age is Rahul. So age will be like, let's say 26, 27, 30, 32, or whatever number you are hitting. So that is like positive testing. So in positive testing, this is what I'm giving. So you see this one. So this positive testing means I'm giving the numbers only, because it only accepts the numbers. So I'm giving, but numbers as well, I'm giving like 999. This is a kind of unrealistic, the, I would say, numbers. So it should have also have a kind of, I would say, bar. It's a kind of a level or something threshold that I'm going to give it. This is like positive testing. And when I talk about like so this is when I talk about a negative testing, so it is kind of process where I'm trying to test the system which is completely against the input, I would say, data. Fine. So this input data, what kind of input data I'm providing? So in the age, I'm providing like we have written only the number, and then I'm trying to provide the characters and see how does it respond. So that is more towards a negative testing. So both kind of testings are performed, and you should perform it. The reason is, for an example, if you are running one, let's say you're having one project of a bank. Fine, you're testing a project of a bank, and bank is collecting some basic information or important information of the customers, in which they are trying to have the let's say they based on the ages, based on the age group, they're going to divide the age group, and they're going to follow up with various different kind of policies, policies for the senior citizens, and different policies from the college guys, or the in the age group of 18 to 35, they're going to go with a different something like that. At that time, various scripts, that will be the script from the intentionally guys are filling, they do not want to provide their age, and they going with the false data. So it's like you are getting tons of entries, which is of the, let's say, name. You see in the name section, you are finding the name as 830 769 and 4627. So this is the name you're getting. You're getting the age factor as ABCD. You're getting the email ID as 123456789. So that is the email ID you're getting. And the text message, that is like anything. So if you see, if your system is accepting such kind of fields, which is not, it is designed for that, but even though it is accepting, so for that testing, we perform as a tester like the negative test. So we are trying to test the functionality negatively. Like, I know the age is something which should accept the text, the numeric numbers, but what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to test it with the alphanumerics, with the combinations, or anything like that. Special symbol I'm putting in, and it should not accept the special symbol as well. It should not accept the space or something. Like I'm writing the space, like my age is Rahul underscore or Rahul space infotech. What is this? So this kind of testing you actually going to perform. And these are the testings in any kind of registration module, login module, booking a flight module, providing the numbers and all. This you find everywhere. You test any kind of functionality, you find it everywhere. That is why along with the positive testing, negative testing is one more thing which is done in the software. So that's a more kind of a process. You're trying to test a functionality with different kind of inputs you are giving in. So that is what another is positive as well as negative testing we perform in the functional quality assurance. There is one more called as system testing, usability testing, that you have to go and you have to run, you have to read. And more I'm toward, this is one more as automation testing versus manual testing. This is a complete bigger document. You can go and find out the differences. If you encounter any kind of issue, you can ask me in tomorrow's session, like what is the reason why it is written here, or what I didn't understand this. Next is like the functional testing and non-functional testing, more towards the differences. Although I have I have explained everything to you, This is more like the functional and non-functional. So this is written. Some lots of functionality, lots of I would say the terminologies, which almost every terminology we have gathered here in the non-functional aspects area as well. So go through this and let me know the next session what you're facing. Everything is I hope everybody is awake. You guys are not sleeping. You're getting it correct. Okay, that's great. So let us do with hands-on one stuff. We have almost 8-10 minutes. Gazelle, don't worry. You need not to write. I can see with your response, your keyboard is not working. That's perfectly okay. Okay, so do we have 15 minutes or something? Can we a little bit stretch this session of tonight? 10, 15, not more than that. Okay. So let's go with the testing, and I'm going to help you in the I would say part of I'll be guiding you how to write the test cases. Test cases are something which are actually what you have to perform. You become a QA. Let it be the manual guy or the automation guy. Any field, any project, any domain. Let it be banking domain, e-commerce domain, or you're working in the education and the e-learning domain, or working in the traveling in this kind of projects, ERPs, ES, or CRMs you're testing. Oh, is it not audible? Or am I speaking very fast? Okay, Ghazal, please confirm it if it's not audible. Okay. So it's like you're working any kind of domain. You're working in the banking projects. You're working on the e-commerce project. You have in your company. You have put on the you have been kept on kind of e-learning project, or the ERPs, or CRMs, or any kind of medical health related project as well. Everywhere, what you have to do is you have to actually write the test cases, and you have to execute those test cases. So that is something which is one of the most I would say important activity you will be performing throughout your tenure of working in this domain, like and that is what we're going to learn, like what is a test case and how we're going to write it. So let me quickly take you to the same part, how we are writing the test cases, what is a test case, how we write it. And there are some more stuff more towards the test planning and all that I'll cover. That is more towards the planning area. More, let's go with more hands-on stuff right now, and that is test cases. Give me a moment, please. So you go under I would say the portal, you find out like this, these all the test cases are written. So these are the projects. If you see, e-commerce testing is involved here, HRM is human resource management is involved here. There is one more called as university management test cases. There is one more called as Gmail test cases. There's GUI test guidelines. There is FRS, flight reservation system, the traveling project I was talking about. So these are almost four or five projects which are here. I'll be guiding you initially. I'll guide you. I'll let you know like what to do from scratch. But once you're done, once you're able to get it, I'll push you more to perform. I'll push you further to go with this type of testing. I will guide you. I will not do things for you. I will push you further that you perform this. And if you're stuck in anywhere, then I'll let you know while performing like how it is done. So this is the model we are going to work in. So let me go to the basic understanding towards the test cases. And I hope like you already got the idea what is a test case means. And can anyone let me know quickly what do you mean as of now with the knowledge base, what we have learned, what is a test case? Then I will let you know specifically from my side. Quickly, if anyone can share what is a test case. Priyanka, Naveen, Kazal, anyone want to speak or want to write? You are most welcome.
I'm sorry. Right? What? I didn't get the question.
What do you understand by a test case? What is a test case? You, Priyanka, Naveen? Yes, you have to write functionality is working or not. Okay. Okay. Not perfect, but okay. A nice try. What else? Okay, let me explain, guys. Okay, and let me explain with an example. Let's say, wait a second, let me see if I'm having Excel in this. Okay, so let us understand test cases. Okay.
Um, is it a ways or set of like how do we test a functionality? So we go step by step. I think I'm not. I hope I'm not.
Okay, quite good. Very nice try. That's good. Okay, so what is a test case? So ultimately, we understand, like we are here to perform testing. We are here to assure the quality. We are here to work on projects, but what we're going to work on projects and how we're going to work on projects. So we understood, like we're going to assure the quality. We're going to test the functionality. We're going to find out the errors. We're going to find out the defect. We're going to report those defects. But ultimately, the biggest question of this all the discussion, like how we going to test it. Fine. How are we going to test the functionality? How are we going to assure the quality? How are we going to actually perform any kind of functionality which is given to us? How are we going to perform the unit testing? So this give us I would say here we come to the answer. Then the answer and come as a terminology that is called as a test case. So what is a test case? Test case is very detailed step by step process of performing the testing. Fine. Which actually matches the specification of the, I would say, that functionality that is already provided in the design phase. So it means when I have to assure the functionality of a login module of anywhere, let it be the Facebook or Gmail or Infotech Solutions or QA portal or mentorship portal or XYZ portal of the universe. Fine. So the one part is I am trying to assure the functionality, that is the functionality of login and logout. So I will be writing step by step complete process which one should follow. Just try to focus on my words. A step by step process which one should follow in order to test the functionality. Fine. Which matches with the specification or the requirement of that functionality. Okay. So it means step by step, I'm going to write down few, I would say the process or the activities which should be performed if you want to test this Gmail login functionality. Step by steps, if you have to perform a Facebook test, then you're going to go with this, like the functionality wise, this and then the complete test case for the Facebook as a testing, the Gmail login and the Facebook login test. So this is what a process, and a process which is actually explaining each step which has to be performed in order to test that particular functionality. Now let us quickly go through the study stuff and try to understand with the technical terminologies. So test case is a series of steps or a set of execution conditions or predicted results with specifying inputs to test correct behavior, functionality, feature of application. And aim of test case is to divide software functionality into a small unit of functions that is testable with specified input and generate a result that is measurable. So it means test case is again a step, I was series of steps, which is a set of execution conditions, which having some predicted result. You remember I was calling you some terminologies. One is called as the uh, expected result. It means prediction we are giving. So if we provide this input data means the test data, and we are trying to with this test data or input data, this is the expected the result I'm looking. This is the result I'm looking as an expected result, and then we're trying to execute those exactly the steps, and then we're trying to see how we going to what the actual result is coming. Fine. So let us understand different kind of, not the levels, but different kind of fields we are having. Yeah, this. So each test case we write down these basic 10 12, I would say, the fields which are important in a test case template. One is called as test suite ID. Excuse me. What is test suite? Test suite means combination of test cases. I'm having one test case for testing the Gmail with valid user ID and valid password. I'm having a second test case, valid user ID, invalid password. I'm having third test case, invalid user ID, invalid password. I'm having fourth, invalid user ID, valid password. So these are the different test cases, or we can also call them as scenarios. So I'm having different test cases. So it's like, and I'm keeping those test cases into one suite as a combo. These 10 test cases are of the Gmail testing. So this is what I'm doing is like testing the I would say complete Gmail, and these are the 10 test cases I'm having. So that is having one test suite ID. It may be like Gmail test case GT01, Gmail test 01, test case ID, any kind of ID by which I can remember it. So again, it's like GTL, Gmail test case login, GTL02, kind of you have given as a test case ID. It is just for your, I would say you can relate it quickly, like this is the test case ID, which is relating to the Gmail. Third is like the test case summary. In summary, you are trying to actually provide the objective, like what is the objective of this test case, why we are doing it. So objective is like trying to test the functionality of, or testing the functionality of Gmail login. Fourth is like prerequisites or the preconditions. Preconditions means if you're testing a functionality of Gmail, you should have the internet working. You should have Firefox or Chrome or any kind of Opera, this web browser, and you should open the Gmail, I would say, as the home page. Fifth is like test steps, steps-wise steps, like what steps I'm writing. So first step I'm writing like open the mail.google.com. Second step I'm writing provide the input data as a user ID with the valid user ID you have given. Then click on next button. Then coming to the next section, that is like provide the email, I would say provide the password, then click on sign in. So these are the steps you're writing. And if you see, you're writing those steps in plain English. There is no extra, there is no coding involved. There is nothing in terms of, I would say, PHP, Java, VB you require here. All plain English, understanding, common sense. Next is like expected result. Next is like test data. So test data means what input data you're going to use. So in this case, I'm using the test data as rahulshrivastava.co @gmail.com, or I'm using Rahul @infotechsolutions.com, or any kind of email ID I'm using. So valid user ID. Then password I'm writing. So this is the password I'll be using. And let's say, excuse me, the expected result. So expected result means with these steps, what I have written with this input data, this is the expected result I'm looking. Like if we perform these steps and we'll use this input data or test data, we will be getting this as output. And output I'm keeping as I'll be able to reach to the home page, and we'll be able to see the, I would say, the various emails in the mailbox. So that's the expected result. Next is like actual result. So when we actually going to perform the test case, now try to understand. Right now I am writing the test case. I have written that test case ID, I have written the test steps, I have written the test data, I have written the expected result. Now I am going to either me who has written or someone else who is going to follow the same steps what I have written. So one is like writing the test case, second is like executing the test case. So one process I am doing here, that is writing the test case, and second now I am going to perform, that is the executing the test case. So executing the test case means I'm trying to exactly follow the same steps which are here. One sample is already here, you see. This is the one sample. Fine. So if you see, I'm maintaining it a kind of, I would say in an Excel sheet. This is, I would say almost all the testers, the manual testers do. You maintain this record in the form of an Excel, let it be in the Google Drive or in the, I would say the offline Excel, or this, and this, I would say Mac and all, you use the numbers and these kind of tools. So this is like test case. If you see, this is one I'm taking as a test case ID. I'm writing a test case 01. Test case summary means objective: test registration module of www.codetraverse.com. Preconditions are like registration, register page should be available, registration page should be available. Steps I'm writing like enter valid username, second step is enter valid email ID, third step is enter password, fourth step is enter confirm password, fifth step is enter captcha, sixth step is click on register button. So these steps I'll be using. Fine. Test data means a valid username. This is actually we exactly write the valid username itself. Like I'll be writing here as Rahul. Valid user ID I'll be writing as a rahul@invertisolutions.com. Third, I'll be writing as the valid password. So that is what I'm going to keep here as a test data. This for security reasons we have not provided the exact data here, but that is like you're keeping like the exact data, actual data. And then based on that, I'm also writing what expected result. I mean, what is the result I'm expecting? So there's I'm expecting like user has registered successfully. So user is registration successfully, it is done. Now my part is done. So this writing the test case is done. Now someone else in the team from the testing team or myself who has written the test case is going to perform this test case. Performance, this test case means I'm going to keep the preconditions up. I'm going to write down the steps. I'll not write down. I'll perform each steps one by one. First of all, I'll open the user, this I would say the code traverse. The login page is registration page is available. Then I'll provide the username. Then I'll provide the email ID. Then I'll provide the password. Then I'll provide the confirm password. I'll also enter the captcha and I'll click on the registration button. Once it is done, based on the test input, which test data which is given here, I will use the same data. Then I will see that what result has come up actually. So if the actual result is there, like I am able to log in, I'm able to see, I would say I'm able to register successfully, then I'll write down as it is, like the actual result, like I'm able to log in successfully, or I'm not able to, or user not able to log in successfully. Fine. Or there is an error in the system, whatever error it is, I'll write down. Now comes the most important part. If expected result is equals to the actual result. So if actual result what I'm having, that is exactly the actual result I've already written. So that it is, call it as a status of the test case. The status is a pass test case. So test case is passed here. So it's perfect. It is in the test case is passed. Or when the actual result is not matching with the expected result, I'll be considering it as a failed test case. And failed test case means then we will go for finding out the bugs, finding out the errors, and that is actually giving me the error. Expected result is it should give a message that user has registered successfully, but now it is giving an error, like your we can say like your email ID is not registered, or email ID is not correct, or it is giving like your captcha is not correct, or anything like this. Fine. So that is where we'll come up with a kind of bug, and this bug or this error will be reported to the development guys. Got the basic understanding guys about it? If you got the basic understanding, we'll go hands-on, we'll open the Excel and then we'll start testing. It's quite simple, not very. There is no big rocket science available here. But if it is some confusion, please ask it specifically.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, yes, most welcome.
So, for instance, we do test login and we enter an invalid username and it accepts it. It let us go to a home page. So obviously that means it failed. And so after that, we're supposed to find the bug or the error. Do we use like a tool or do we go to see the code? Do we have to know the
Uh,
code?
that we do no. That the responsibility of yours is to find out the bugs. Your responsibility is not to find out the, I would say, like this is the this is how you have to correct the bug. So that is the developer responsibility. So you are just finding out the bugs, you're writing out the various test cases, and you're and right now in the manual testing there is no tool. There is no need to go to any kind of tool. That will go in the automation part, will go internalize a code, like if I change this, what is going to happen. What you're going to do here is you completely actually trying to fix the steps, you're trying to improve the steps, you're trying to change all these, like the, you see, test data. So various test data you will be changing. Now you're changing with a different test data, you're now changing with negative test data. Now you testing it with a different kind of input, you're going with positive, with negative, with unrealistic kind of data. Your task is to assure the quality with all the possible scenarios. So whatever you can think, like this is, these are the various fields I'm having, what I can provide in, and then we can see how I need how this test case can be failed, how I can get, like with this input the result is not coming as expected. So that is what you are trying to figure out. You are trying to think, you are thinking as an end user. You're not going to any code right now, you're not going to any kind of language. All you're trying to do is you're thinking as an end user, and if you're performing any different kind of, I would say, with different input and with different steps you are performing, then how its system is going to respond. If it is not responding the way it should respond, that is a bug, that is an error. That is what you are reporting, you are giving to the development guys. They have to find out, okay, this is, and they'll find this as a complete test case report. Okay, this is the test case was written, and this functionality they perform these steps and it is not working. So this is the development guy problem. He's trying to figure out, like, oh, this is an error and I have to find out what causing this error.
Oh, okay. So this is where I was confused. That are we supposed to find out where the error is, or are they?
No, this is their task. If you find out where the errors, you will correct that error too. So what is the need of developer then?
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's great. And we'll be going more towards, though we are learning the, I would say, only testing area. This is what your responsibility is. Your responsibility is try to assure the quality. And you're assuring the quality. One guy has developed the solution, he's giving to you, you're testing it, and you're confirming like this is not working. Why not working? Go figure out, develop it, configure it, modify it, give back to me, I'll retest, I'll assure one more time like this is working or not. So you are more towards finding out the bugs, you are finding out the errors, you're finding out the behavior, how it is changing, how the system is responding, and you are just trying to report it. So you're going to report exactly the same report, like this test case has failed, these test cases have failed, and these are the bugs we are having. So in the automation part, we'll be moving towards more at the code area, like, hey, this is something we given as a wrong. If we have done this, it would have come up as a past test case. So if we are performing some internal, I would say, internal, I would say, the changes or internal steps writing, we are performing some, we are problem wise, we are not writing the correct steps, then we cannot report it to the developer. Fine. So if the, and that is what we have to make sure that we are very much clear with the specification which has written. That is why I always keep asking, keep telling that specification, checking with the specification, checking with the requirement, checking the SRS and all. So what does it mean? Like what it's supposed to work, we are trying to understand, that when we are done with the understanding, like this is this is the utility of this particular functionality, this is how it is going to respond, then I'm going to write the various test cases, positive, negative, various input data, and then I'm trying to find out whatever, how many bugs I can find out in the system. And once I found the system, like I used your take an example. Gmail is, or any kind of login is going to work with the valid user ID and valid password. So it's perfect. And that is for the development guys has designed it. But even if I'm not providing a user ID which is valid, or valid user ID I'm putting and invalid user ID I'm, I would say putting, even though system is able to log in, that's a big error. Fine. That is I'm going to report. That you have to find out, being a developer, like what is the issue in this. I'm using invalid as in a password, valid user ID, even though system is able to log in, I'm able to reach to home page. So this is a big authenticity, I would say, authentication error in the system. So that developer guy has to resolve, he has to find out, he has to modify the code, or whatever he's trying to do, and he has come back to you like, hey, I have fixed the bug, please go for this. So you going with regression, you're going with retesting. So that is what you trying to perform.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Let us go hands on. Meanwhile, I just want to show you, there is a, I would say, let me share this. Okay. So here is one video I was showing you. This is something you should watch. Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you that how to write the manual test cases, right? So in this case, we are taking the Gmail login feature into the consideration. And for the login functionality of Gmail, we'll write the manual test cases, okay? One document is already available at the training portal itself under the test case section of testing documents, which is Gmail test case. So you can take the reference. I'll show you from the scratch so that you can get idea that how we think and how we actually process when we have to write one manual test case. Okay, so for example, if you in a job, you got a job, and when your supervisor asks you to write a test case or the manual test cases for any website, so try to understand the process so that you can get the idea that how we actually write the test cases. Okay, so first of all, open the Microsoft Excel. Okay, here is it. Fine. See, there are a few important and a kind of essential fields what I'm going to write down here, and you also can follow these fields. What I'm saying is these fields are important, but I'm not saying that this is the same format what you need to follow exactly, right? I am keeping the essential fields. You can also include some other fields. So one is called as the test case ID. Another is the test title. Next is description. Another is test case steps. Next will be expected result. Another will be actual result, and then it will be status. Fine. Okay, so these are the basic fields which we're going to actually work over when we are creating manual test cases. Okay, so let me explain a bit about it. As the name suggests, I mean the test case ID. Every test case what we create, we assign an ID to the test case so that it is able to identify those test cases easily, right? So that we can kind of keep indexing, and then we can follow with the same. So one test case ID.
So let's say I am writing test case ID as manual testing case 01. So I'm keeping MTC01. Okay, manual testing case 01. Test title is Gmail login test. Description. Description is actually just describing what your test case is about. So testing login functionality of Gmail. Okay, and then test case steps. So this is important. So what we're going to do is that being manual tester, we need to actually provide these information. One is the test case ID, second is the title, the description of the test case, and next, which is very important field, that is called as the test case steps. That what steps a tester is going to perform when he or she is going to actually test this test case, what I am writing right now. Okay, so these will be steps. Then I'll also write down the expected result. Okay, that if you execute these steps, what is going to be the expected result. So I'll also write down the expected result, and after that, actual result will be filled by the tester who is actually testing the test case on the real scenario, right? And if the expected result and actual result matches, then the status will be pass, or if both are different, actual result is not matching with the expected result, then it will be a case of fail. Fine. That is how we call as the test cases pass or fail. Okay, so let us go to the Gmail. So
test case ID you can provide, that is completely on your part. So test case ID you are writing, that is not an issue. This is not a big thing, but test case ID is more like we are deciding the name as I would say more logical name. So for example, you you are testing a Gmail, so you can write down as Gmail login test case. So GTL kind of Gmail test case login 01. So these you can keep with yourself, or if your supervisor is going to give you as the writing part, write down the Gmail test case, or somebody previously wrote down these test cases initially, that resource is replaced by you, and now you're going to get the same information like this is we have been using. So you have the liberty, you can use the same, or if you want to change the test case ID, it's all up to you. So test case ID is something which is just you want to relate it, like this is the ID which is involved. So when you're trying to report the bug in the Jira or somewhere in the tool, you will include that particular test case, I would say the ID, like this is a test case ID, and that is having error. Go and find out this test case ID, you will find all the reports. Developer will check out this is the error you are having, and then he or she will try to resolve the issue. Okay, so test case ID is completely kind of any kind, that's not a big thing which should be I would say fixed or something. So that is more logical it should be, so that it gives you better clarity when you're trying to relate, when you're trying to find out one more time, like this test case is ID is related to the Gmail, something like that. Okay, so moving further, okay, just a few minutes more and you will be getting the exact this scenario.
precondition is that we should have a web browser, so we also can write down the precondition as one more column. I'm not writing down right now the precondition column. So what I'll do is step 1 is open okay. So open the www.gmail.com on web browser, right? Then what you need to do is, second step what you want to do, that write or type valid email ID in the email section. So second step will be or type valid Gmail or email ID in mail ID section. Okay. Third you going to do is you're going to click on next. Click on next. Let's say I provide one valid Gmail ID. And click on next. Fine. So now what I need to provide is, one thing is that this page should appear, right? So I can provide the checkpoints as well in this case. For example, I can, as an expected result, I can show that you will be able to get a page which require a password, right? So I can write down here as expected result, one web page which gives an option to enter password. Okay. So fourth, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter valid, or I would say correct password. Okay. So let's say I provided correct password. And then I click on sign in, right? So click on sign in. So when I click on sign in, I should able to get this home page of Gmail, right? The login after the login page. So this is going to be my expected result. So expected result is user is logged into Gmail. Fine. So guys, this is going to be one of our basic test case, right? In which this is my test case ID, this is my title, this is the description, these are the test case steps, these are the expected result, and these are the actual result when we're going to execute, and then we're going to have these actual results. And this is going to be our status, and test cases passed or test cases failed, right? So right now I am actually signing out, and then manually I'm going to test the Gmail login functionality again. So as of now we created the test case, and the test case what we created is testing Gmail login with valid user ID and password, right? So this is something what we done. Oh my God. Sorry. Okay. Fine. Looks much better. You can do all these beautification and all. So if I try to execute this, precondition is I am able to open the web browser. Then first step, what I'm going to do is open www.gmail.com on web browser. So www.gmail.com on web browser. Okay, so Gmail homepage is opened, right? Okay, so Gmail homepage is opened. Yes, Gmail homepage opened, right? Next is type valid Gmail ID. Let me hit valid Gmail ID. Let's say I use Trooper projects, okay? And then I click on next and I click on next. Okay, fine. So one web page which gives option to enter password. Okay, so gives option to enter password. I got a web page providing option for password, right? Fine, then enter correct password. Let me enter correct password. Then click on sign in. Okay, then user is logged into the Gmail. Let's see if it logged into Gmail or not. Okay, it seems it is logged into Gmail, right? So this is logged in to Gmail. So guys, now what we're going to do, we're going to compare the expected result and actual result. So the expected result, what Gmail homepage is open, the Gmail homepage was opened, the status is yes. One web page which gives an option to enter password. So got a web page providing option to enter password, test case is passed, right? I would say it passed, not yes. And user is logged into Gmail. Yes, I was able to log into Gmail. So this test case, this manual test case, well, when what I tried to run, it actually I tested, and this test case is running successfully. That is why all the status are passed, and overall this test case is going to be a pass test case. I hope it makes sense. I tried to explain you from the scratch and with all the basic steps. Now what you can do is you can do some more variations. You try to write these test cases with the different parameters like Gmail test case login functionality with, let's say, valid user ID and incorrect password. Another one you can test is, which could be like with invalid, right? Invalid user ID and password, right? So these are the various I would say cases. You can keep going. You can then MTC02, then the title, then the description, test cases, expected result, actual result, and then status. So this is how you actually write the test cases. There are more fields, as I told you, the preconditions and some more requirements and other things, which you can also write down if required. But these are some essential fields what are actually expected. That is why I added these important 5 to 6 fields in my test case. I hope you got the idea. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, you can post the same questions in the YouTube video itself. Thanks.
Guys, does it make sense to you? The complete solution, I would say solution wise what we done. Okay, This is a video which is available at the YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe it. Do subscribe it. Fine. You can go and find out at this YouTube channel. The name is the QA Guru is the name. And I will also follow up with the this solution, the video itself, as well as some more assignments. I'm not going to take much time because it's already it's more than 11 itself. So this is the basic solution. Tomorrow as well, we'll be performing Gmail test case and some other more test cases with the same concept. I would request one thing, and that is something which is expected from your side as well, that you perform this what I have given to you in terms of test case of Gmail test case. Fine. You go, you understood the basic fields which are available here. I have used the most essential fields which are like test case ID, test case summary means the description, and the test steps, then expected result, actual result, and the status. So this is what I have used, and these are the some more conditions. This also a field wise you write down before the test case, like this is the project name, this is created by your the name. For example, this is a test case which is created by, let's say, Priyanka, or test case by Naveen or Gazelle, or creation date, this was the date, this was the testing environment, browser I was using Google Chrome, OS I was using Windows 7 Ultimate or something like that. So that is what you also write down as a more information. This is also called as a test case template. So this is a template which I'll be creating and using for a test case. So if you see, completely we done, I would say, login test of the Gmail with the manual efforts. Manually, we tried to done it with the valid username and valid password. Right now, we are finishing this session, and I would be expecting, like before joining tomorrow the session, you will be done with one time at least the testing of the Gmail, what I have showed to you and given to you. I'll also share the, I would say, the video as well. But go through the stuff what I have requested to you guys in the assignment. And again, I'm going to share you the assignment as well as this test case of Gmail. I'll share the video as well. And that the test case what you're going to submit, you have to go here. You have to go. You have to log in. For example, I'm logged in here. You have to go to your dashboard. After going to your dashboard, you will go to your assignments. After going to your assignments, you will click, if you see like Gmail, manual Gmail test case. So you're going to click on add assignment button. You will write down like Gmail test case manual. Fine. Here is assignment link. Assignment link means you're going to link the drive, the Google Drive link. For an example, you have worked locally on your Excel sheet, you will copy paste on one of the Excel sheet here. If you are not familiar with Google Drive, that's a product from, I would say, Google. The link is, and I hope you already having the access and I would say aware about that, drive.google.com. So it is always linked to your, I would say, with your Gmail account. So once you do this, you will click on new. You will create a Google Sheet. You can see a Google Sheet. You will create a Google Sheet here. You'll copy paste your steps from your Excel sheet at Windows environment, or with, I would say, these numbers you are having in the Mac if you are having. So you can copy and paste your stuff here directly as a copy paste. So all the steps will be copied here. Here you will write down like the Gmail test case, and you will copy this link here. So it's like you're hitting Control C, so it's log copying, and you're providing the link here as the assignment link, keeping under the category of manual testing, and submit assignment. So when you submit assignment, when I'm going to click here, it will directly take me to the location where you have worked as an assignment and at your Google Drive. So this will help me. I will quickly check it out. I will once I'll check it out, I will give you the feedback. So you can click here. You will find out the feedback at your personalized access. Like this is an assignment I have submitted as a Gmail test case. This is an error, or these are some improvements which were required in this test case that I have given to you. So that is what I'm expecting before, before 9, you'll be having this, you'll be working on this, and I'll be giving you the feedback so that we can improve. And then in tomorrow's session, tomorrow will be completely test case only. We won't be having any theoretical concepts. So just like we started this Gmail, so we'll test few more. I would say I will work with you on the FRS. One is called as the flight reservation system traveling project, that we'll also try tomorrow after working few, I would say half an hour or something on the Gmail itself. So that is the plan. We are working tomorrow. I'm expecting you to complete the stuff before coming in the class tomorrow itself. If you have any questions, please let me know. Ask the questions right now. Or if we, otherwise we'll be discussing in tomorrow's session. Any questions? I hope everybody. Naveen, you there? I hope after coming back, it would have a heavy session for you. I tried to keep it as simple as possible. Okay, sounds great. That's the spirit. Fine. So please focus. And Naveen, you have a lot of work to complete. I'm going to share the various 2 to 3 previous class the videos, as well as this assignments you have to complete. So please focus tomorrow. Please sing, work hard, put on extra hours tomorrow, and then you're able to sing, and it will be great. Sure. One email you already got, Priyanka, that is from I given you, and another is I'm going to share with more towards the Gmail. I'm going to write down few problems what you have to complete, but basic is something, only this basic test case you complete, and then I'll give you some more assignments. You first you have to submit this assignment on the mentorship portal, Gmail test case, valid user ID, valid password. Your test case, your language may differ, your test data may differ. That is perfectly okay. I have not intentionally I have not written the test data, because writing down the user ID and password on the public video, that was not advisable, and that is not good. So that's why I have not included the test data field. You guys can include that, fine, and you can include like email ID, you can return password, you can keep the blank, like writing the valid password, something like that. So that is how we going to you're going to test, and please submit, and I'll check and I'll give you the feedback. Any questions, guys? Yes, Kazal, please.
Can you please like scroll up right now to your on your screen? Yes. So when I log in, I'm not actually, I don't have same screen as yours, like same options as yours. So I took a screenshot and I attached it to the email. I'm going to email you because the options on your left, I'm not able to see at all.
Okay, one second. Let me stop the recording. Give me a moment.
Okay.
I'm